Thanks, Rita. Hello, you're watching Wales Today. I'm Nick Savini. The headlines. After the former Reform UK leader in Wales, Nathan Gill, was jailed for taking bribes, Nigel Farage speaks for the first time and rules out an internal inquiry into potential Russian influence in the party.
You're not going to instigate that investigation yourself as party leader. But you are party leader.
Yeah, I haven't got a police force. I haven't got access. I can't access your phone messages. I can't access your emails. Unless I can do that, I can't investigate.
We speak to Mr Farage as he prepares to address a rally in Llandudno, also tonight. Getting ready for Christmas, but there is deep concern within the Welsh poultry industry as an outbreak of avian flu leads to tens of thousands of birds being culled.
So the turkeys are in lockdown at the moment in this beautiful turkey tunnel behind me. You know, it would break my heart to have to tell our customers, I'm really sorry, we don't have a turkey for you. If any of our birds contracted it, I don't see a way back from us.
Here at the Royal Welsh Winter Fair, the country's chief vet warns of a severe situation and urges farmers to do everything they can to protect their flocks.
Wesley tells us how he overcame his addiction to ketamine as hospitals in North Wales report a sharp increase in people taking the drug. And struggling Swansea City say he's the man with the plan as they confirm Vita Matos as their new head coach.
I hope that in 1 or 2 months everyone feel much more confidence with everything, and I'm here to try and to turn it around, that's for sure.
Good evening. It's been just a matter of days since the former leader of Reform UK in Wales, Nathan Gill, was sentenced to more than 10 years in jail for taking bribes for making pro-Russian speeches. Well, tonight, the leader of the party, Nigel Farage, is in Llandudno addressing a rally, and he's been speaking publicly for the first time about the jailing of his former colleague at both Reform UK and UKIP. Mr Farage has ruled out carrying out an internal party inquiry, saying he's not in charge of a police force. He's been speaking to our political editor, Gareth Lewis, who we can go to now. Gareth.
Nick, welcome to Llandudno. I caught up with Nigel Farage within the past hour. He told me he was as confident as he could be that it was just Nathan Gill involved with Russia. He repeated his shock at what had happened. He said he would support a UK-wide investigation into Russian and Chinese influence in British politics. But what about an investigation into potential Russian influence in Reform? The answer there was no.
I haven't got a police force. I haven't got access. I can't access your phone messages. I can't access your emails. Unless I can do that, I can't investigate. You've got to have somebody with investigatory powers.
What questions have you personally asked of people in your party?
Well, I've asked everybody, have you ever taken money you shouldn't have taken from anybody? And no one said yes.
OK, and is that good enough for you? You're taking them at face value?
And what do you think Keir Starmer's doing? And what do you think Kemi Badenoch's doing? OK, but
this question is for you. Those are questions for them on a different...
I am not a police officer. I cannot access emails or phone messages. I can't investigate other than asking people. And I would point out to you that this is an embarrassment for UKIP. It's a very minor embarrassment for Reform.
Well, he was party leader in Wales.
For how many weeks?
Well, you're still party leader. That's irrelevant.
For a very brief period of time. He's not been with us for a very, very long time. And I will mention it to the audience this evening. I'll mention it, but look, you know, a broad look at it from a, you know, an MI5 point of view wouldn't be a bad thing.
And look, Nick, the other big story swirling around Nigel Farage at the moment are these allegations that he racially abused fellow pupils whilst he was at school. Allegations to that effect made by 20 people to The Guardian newspaper. So I asked him, did he ever racially abuse fellow pupils whilst he was at Dulwich School?
I would never, ever do it in a hurtful or insulting way.
That's not quite the same as not doing it.
It's 49 years ago. It's 49 years ago.
What difference is the time make?
Isn't it? Well, you know, I just entered my teens. Can I remember everything that happened at school? No, I can't. Have I ever been part of an extremist organisation or engaged in direct, unpleasant personal abuse, genuine abuse on that basis? No.
You're not quite... That's very, very caveated. You're not quite ruling this out. The question is, did you ever racially abuse fellow pupils in school.
No.
You've caveated
Not
it with a
intent.
hurtful way.
Not with intent.
What do you mean not with intent? I don't understand what you mean by
No,
not with
you
intent. What
wouldn't
does that mean?
You wouldn't do.
But what does that mean?
No.
No what?
No. I have never directly really tried to go and hurt anybody.
You're opening the door there to perhaps you did it without meaning to offend.
Have I said things 50 years ago that you could interpret as being banter in a playground, that you could interpret in the modern light of day in some sort of way? Yes. But isn't it funny?
Okay, so you did say stuff to these people then?
I've never directly racially abused anybody. No.
Well, Nick, Nigel Farage went on to allege what he called a strong political element to the accusations. I asked him if these people were telling the truth, and he said, no, they're not telling the truth. He said he wouldn't say sorry because he didn't think he'd done anything that directly hurt anybody. He asked me, have I directly been racist towards people? No, never, he said, answering his own question. And one other piece of news from Reform this evening. Mr Farage also said that the party's plan is to appoint a Welsh leader of Reform, because I haven't got one at the moment, early in the new year.
OK, Gareth Lewis, our political editor in Llandudno, thank you very much. A month before Christmas, there is deep concern within the poultry industry about an outbreak of avian flu, which has led to tens of thousands of birds being killed in Wales in recent weeks. There is no threat to human health from eating poultry or eggs, but for producers, the prospect of losing their entire flock is devastating. One farming union says the concern cannot be overestimated, although there is no immediate threat to turkey supplies. Our environment correspondent Stefan Messenger is at the Royal Welsh Winter Fair, the traditional start of the festive period in the rural calendar. Steph.
Yes, welcome Nick to Llanelwedd, where visitors to the annual Winter Fair have enjoyed a packed programme today of livestock competitions, the odd spot of Christmas shopping too. No live poultry on show here though. Gatherings of birds like chickens and turkeys have been banned, while on farms they're all having to be kept indoors. And it's in response, as you say, to this worrying spate of cases of avian flu. 4 Welsh counties hit in recent weeks, and the number of cases on the rise across the UK.
Usually there'd be chickens running all over this yard and in the fields nearby. But at Force Farm near Maes Teg, as across Wales, they're having to be kept inside. It's to protect them from a highly infectious strain of avian flu.
We've had to put biosecurity measures in place as regards to the birds. We've had to keep them in. We've had to limit who can go in the sheds. It's a lot more harder, don't get me wrong, but if it's protecting the birds, it's what we got to do.
So the turkeys are in lockdown at the moment.
In Ketamine, Ceredigion, Kate's rearing 500 turkeys ready for Christmas, and really worried, she says, about what would happen to her business if they were to fall ill.
You know, it would break my heart to have to tell our customers, I'm really sorry, we don't have a turkey for you. If any of our birds contracted it, I don't see a way back from us.
Since October the 1st, the start of a new bird flu season, there have been 50 cases recorded across the UK, including 7 in Wales. Industry leaders warn it could be one of the worst years yet for outbreaks of the disease, with devastating consequences for the affected farms.
I cannot overemphasize the concern out there. We'd like the results published earlier, how those that have been unlucky to have the disease this year have actually been infected. And then if you get that information, that will be a huge benefit for other poultry producers.
Affected sites so far include a poultry unit with 31,000 turkeys near Milford Haven in Pembrokeshire, and another with 32,000 egg-laying hens near Cynnoed in Denbighshire. A site with 28,000 broiler chickens reared for meat was hit near Welshpool in Powys, while smaller farms and so-called backyard flocks have also been affected, including near Pontyberem in Carmarthenshire. Wales's chief vet says he and the Welsh Government are working closely with the industry, and farmers should do everything they can to protect their birds.
We're seeing an uptick in those cases a little bit earlier than last year, and that naturally is a concern. Crucially, it's important to remember that hygiene and biosecurity are the best way to protect your birds from what is a highly infectious disease.
The risk to humans and food safety is considered to be very low, with properly cooked poultry and eggs safe to eat. But with tens of thousands culled in recent weeks across Wales, the threat posed to birds, both on farms and in the wild, is significant.
Well, aside from avian flu, the other big talking point here today has been a familiar one, the ongoing row over changes to inheritance tax rules for farmers, with just days to go now until the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, unveils her budget. You'll remember that at the last one, she made that announcement that has so angered farmers that agricultural land and assets worth over £1 million will in future be subject to inheritance tax at 20%. The farming unions are making another push on this here at the Winter Fair, saying it's not too late to influence the Chancellor to change course. The Welsh Affairs Committee, a cross-party committee of MPs in the UK Parliament, had recently called for all of this to be paused and for a proper review to be carried out into the implications for Welsh farming. At the moment, though, Nick, it doesn't appear as if the UK government will change course. They say the changes are needed to raise vital revenue for public services. Angela Eagle, the farming minister, telling the BBC recently that there would be no U-turn, but accepting the upset that this policy had caused.
And we'll have a bit more about the budget later in the programme. But from Llanelwedd, Steph, thank you very much. Figures from the Betsy Cadwaladr Health Board area have revealed a sharp rise in attendances at emergency departments related to recreational use of the drug ketamine. You might have heard of it. Ketamine is used in healthcare settings and by vets, but it's also thought of as a party drug due to its hallucinogenic effects. A urologist from Ysbyty Gwynedd said it's becoming commonplace and often leaves users with irreversible damage to their bladders and their kidneys. Sarah Easdale reports.
Wesley Lloyd-Roberts has come a long way in a short time. It's just 3 months since he turned to rehab and stopped using ketamine, a drug he's been addicted to for 9 years. While using the drug, he lost weight and became incontinent. He also became estranged from his family and partner, ending up homeless.
If I had pain with my bladder, I could take more because it would get rid of the pain. If I had like pain in my nose, which I was getting really bad, I could still manage to take it, and then it would get rid of that. But I was just making everything worse. And I knew I was, but I still couldn't let it go.
And as recreational ketamine use goes up, more and more people with symptoms like Wesley's are turning up at hospital emergency departments. Of the 5 health boards in Wales that responded to a Freedom of Information request, Betsy Cadwaladr University Health Board showed the highest increase, from 2 people presenting at A&E in 2020 with ketamine-related side effects to 372 last year. Specialists are also seeing an increase in cases related to ketamine.
In the early stages, when symptoms are things like bleeding, we investigate with things like camera tests into people's bladders, which is very uncomfortable. And certainly for people who have ketamine bladder problems, it's really an unpleasant thing to have done. As people use more and their kidneys start to be impaired, the drainage, we start to need to do things called stents, so plastic tubes that we put in to drain the kidneys into the bladder because the openings into the bladder are blocked. And then if people continue to use ketamine, we actually do, in a certain group of patients, end up taking their entire bladders out.
At this Colwyn Bay-based rehabilitation centre, there's no surprise that more people are ending up in hospital with ketamine-related problems. They're dealing with rising numbers too, and see its appeal to young people because it's readily available and cheap.
Let's say you've got a friendship group of 3, 4, a couple of pound each, and you can be disassociated for 35, 40 minutes, and then you can go back home and your parents might not suspect that you've been doing anything. They start out as the party drug, and then before you know it, it's actually taken a hold, and they're using it more and more.
Wesley still has a long way to go in his rehabilitation and is facing the prospect of bladder surgery as a result of using ketamine. But he now feels hopeful for the future.
My mental health improved, my physical health improved, I've gained weight, I've learned so much.
He's now urging others not to start down the same hard road as him, but says there is help out there for those who need it.
A public meeting is about to begin in Whitland in Carmarthenshire following heavy rain earlier this month, which caused flooding in the village. A housing complex was evacuated and some residents have still not been able to move back in. Eleanor Rice is there for us. So, Ellie, remind us what happened at the start of the month.
Yes, Nick, it's been almost 3 weeks since torrential rain and high river levels saw the Taff, which runs alongside Whitland, burst its banks. A major incident was declared here. It was so serious, perhaps for none more so than the 48 residents of St David's Avenue. It's a retirement complex and the bottom floor of which was completely flooded. Residents were rescued and brought here to the town hall overnight. Some of those living on the higher up floors have been able to return. I'm told the timeline for those on the ground floor is still uncertain. The building is run and maintained by Carmarthenshire Council. They've said they've provided a wide range of support both during and following the flooding. They say they'll survey and clean the drainage systems and ensure in the short term that they're working optimally, and in the longer term they say a full investigation will take place into the event. They'll review things like warning systems, timings and response, as well as potential mitigations in the future. The purpose of tonight's meeting is for residents to raise any concerns about how the night played out and what can be done to avoid it happening again. There'll be another meeting in the new year with other stakeholders, which residents are encouraged to contribute to.
OK, Ellie, thank you for that. Still to come before 7. We hear from Swansea's new head coach, Vita Matos. Can he rescue them from their current difficulties in the Championship?
And a Pembrokeshire dangler is stirring up trouble again in the west with frequent heavy showers. Drier elsewhere with some sunshine and frost, but a big change rolling in by midweek. Don't miss the full forecast, coming up later.
The budget is just a couple of days away now when we learn the Chancellor's plans for the economy and what it might all mean for you. We've been out and about in the Swansea Valley to find out what people are hoping to hear, as Rodri Lewis now reports.
It's coffee time at this cafe in Clydach in the Swansea Valley. But with the ongoing cost of living crisis, making the sums add up here is tough. The owner wants the Chancellor to think about small businesses like hers.
I'd like to see the VAT threshold being risen, maybe even just for small businesses under 10 employees maybe, or something along those lines. I think that would help us immensely.
Rachel Reeves has to perform a balancing act on Wednesday. She'll probably need to raise taxes to fill a multi-billion-pound black hole in her spending plans. However, the Chancellor has also said addressing the cost of living crisis is a priority. The question is, how will she do that? Enjoying a coffee, Stephanie Mills runs a hair and beauty salon in Clydach. She says her customers have cut their visits to her because of the cost.
Obviously, everything's going up, so people do hold back and are stretching out appointments a bit more, which is hard then to keep people employed and be successful. And it means we've got to put a lot more hours in, which is hard when you've got a family as well.
Gito Ivan from Cardiff University has been looking at the figures. He says the Chancellor will try to stick to Labour's pledge not to raise the rates of income tax, VAT or national insurance, but says there are a number of other ways she could raise money.
I think it's more difficult to raise taxes without changing the main rates. You have to squabble around to find smaller tax rises across the board, and there's political risks to that. You might keep to the manifesto commitment, but you risk creating sort of groups of losers that lose out from these tax policy, and they can shout the loudest.
Like the cafe owner, the Chancellor is trying to balance the books, but no one knows yet where she'll wield the knife, or who'll be lucky enough to get a bigger slice of her spending cake.
To an exclusive interview now with a Welsh computer scientist who has helped to revolutionise the use of artificial intelligence, or AI. Lleon Jones was part of the Google team that developed the technology to build what are known as chatbots that interact like humans. You might have used them when you're looking for information on a website. He's been speaking to our business correspondent, Hugh Thomas.
Talk of AI seems to be everywhere, with a powerful technology helping to answer questions, solve problems and manage tasks. And it's a revolution driven by a Welshman's discovery. Lleon Jones is a new name to many, but he's a superstar of the AI world, having been part of the Google team that discovered how to make AI interact like a person. Now based in Tokyo, he told me that he's still surprised by the impact he's made.
We weren't trying to create something that was going to be massively impactful.
So I think the answer to the question then has to be that no, I wasn't expecting it to be in every single part of people's lives and businesses now.
While America and China throw billions at AI research, Theon Jones argues that Wales should chart its own course.
It doesn't make any sense to be a part of that race because you're not going to win. So what can you do? Well, you can embrace the idea that you can do something different, right? And that involves being a little bit more brave, do what I'm trying to do, create an environment in Wales where companies and the academic institutions feel like they have the resources and the freedom to start doing much more differentiated research.
Everyone is trying to get to grips with what AI can do, especially in business. This Google event in Cardiff showed off the possibilities, while the UK government argues there's a clear win for the economy by using AI to boost productivity.
If the small business community increased its productivity by 1%, that would generate £240 billion worth of economic activity. So the gains are huge for the businesses, for the people working in it, and for our economy.
Many companies are starting small, using AI to run simple tasks that were otherwise eating into their day.
It takes the heavy lifting out of some of the menial tasks, which could take 10-20 minutes, but then 15-20 seconds, and you get what you want at the end of it.
The rollout of AI technology requires power and connectivity, but that in itself is controversial. These protesters aren't against AI, but they are opposed to the pylons that would bring powerful, renewable energy connections to parts of mid-Wales. For some, it can feel like the AI revolution is changing the world too quickly, and the rush risks harming some of our communities. The company that's planning to increase Wales's electricity grid says it's acutely aware of the tensions around our AI future.
I think there are some big and difficult decisions that have to be made because I think we don't have time to wait around. We've talked about this being an AI race. I think we don't want to lose out on that. But also, I think fundamentally we don't have time to wait to decarbonise our energy system.
Theon Jones is the Welshman whose discovery has changed the world, with many of us still grappling with the impact AI will have on our lives and the land around us.
Football and Swansea City have confirmed the appointment of Vitor Matos as the club's new head coach. The 37-year-old from Portugal takes on the role after Alan Sheehan was sacked earlier this month. Speaking at a press conference this evening, Matos says that fans should not be worried. Chris Wathen was at that conference and joins us now from the Swansea.com stadium. Chris.
Well, Nick, despite not kicking a ball, an impressive first impression from the 37-year-old, who many Swansea fans wouldn't have known an awful lot about before this weekend, where he was in attendance to watch Swansea lose at Bristol City, a defeat that leaves them 20th in the table. But nevertheless, official this afternoon, Swansea's fifth new manager in the last 5 seasons. Now, a former Porto youth coach who says he was inspired by Jose Mourinho, but very much influenced by Jurgen Klopp, who he worked with at Liverpool, and who Matos says is still on the end of the phone for advice should he need it. And he may well do so, because despite talking about bringing back the club's identity that might have been lost in recent years, he knows he needs results. What will concern some fans is whether he has the experience to achieve that. Say from 12 games with Maritimo in Portugal's second tier. This will be Vitor Matos' first taste of frontline management. But as you were saying, he's told fans they shouldn't be worried.
I feel completely prepared. If I was not prepared, I will not be here. I hope that in 1 or 2 months, everyone feel much more confidence with everything, and I'm here to try and to turn it around, that's for sure.
Well, also speaking this afternoon was Swansea's chief executive, Tom Gorringe, who said that data and metrics led them to Vitor Matos, but it was Matos' presentation on what is needed here at Swansea that earned him the job, and also won the backing of several former players that were consulted, and the director here, the former Ballon d'Or winner, Luka Modric, who we understand is due to speak to Vitor Matos in the coming days. Now, whether he has a chance before Matos takes charge for the first time remains to be seen. He'll be in the dugout for tomorrow's match against Derby County. Assisting him will be Leon Britton and Joe Allen in the short term. But with just one training session so far, fans will still be eager to know that Vitor Matos does more than just talk a good game, Nick.
I'm sure they will. Chris, thank you very much indeed. And Cardiff Devils' longest-serving player, Mark Richardson, has broken the British record for the most appearances in ice hockey's Elite League. The 39-year-old played his 1,178th match last night when the Devils took on the Five Flyers in Cardiff Bay. It surpasses the record he shared with Cardiff-born Jonathan Phillips, who was at the Vindico Arena to celebrate Richards' achievement.
I kind of dread these situations where the attention's kind of on me a little bit, but no, the boys, really wanted to get that win, and so it was nice to do so. This club means so much to me. I've been so fortunate to play for a club like this and for so long that to do it at home in front of the fans, and I don't really know what to say. I'm still kind of lost for words, and amazing.
Well done to him. Right, let's get the forecast from our longest-serving weatherman. Derek is here. Hi, how's it looking?
Yes, can you believe it? I've been presenting the weather on Wales Today for nearly 30 years with lots of highs and lows. Now, it's been a case of dodging the showers today. We've also seen a few fabulous rainbows like this one spotted at St Bride's on the Pembrokeshire coast. Now, the radar for today shows today's showers, a sprinkling, and with a strong northerly wind blowing down the Irish Sea, we've got another Pembrokeshire dangler to deal with. Now, the Pembrokeshire dangler brought some heavy disruptive snow to parts of southwest Wales last week. This one is different. It's not quite so cold, but it will still bring frequent heavy showers of rain, hail, and a risk of thunder to western parts of the country. So this evening, showers will spread southwards, some of them heavy with hail. But away from the west and the southwest, many places will turn dry and clearer during the early hours of Tuesday. And pretty cold as well, a frost in places before dawn, but staying above freezing in Fishguard with a brisk northerly wind. Now, tomorrow, a ridge of high pressure will topple eastwards across the UK. That'll kill off the showers, bringing a window of drier and calmer weather. So tomorrow, heavy showers in the far west and in Pembrokeshire. They will ease during the afternoon. Otherwise, many places dry, bright, with plenty of sunshine. The wind lighter tomorrow, with temperatures on the chilly side. Highs between 7 and 10 Celsius. Tomorrow night looks cold, a widespread frost, a few mist and fog patches forming as well. And then on Wednesday, things start to change. A warm front will move in from the Atlantic. That'll bring some rain and introducing much milder southwesterly winds. So a dry start on Wednesday, but it won't last. Here comes the rain spreading eastwards. Oh, we seem to have lost the weather graphics, but it will turn milder with southwesterly winds and staying mild on Thursday. Breezy too, with patches of light rain and drizzle. Sorry about the technical glitch. Nick.
Don't worry, we got the idea. Derek, thanks very much indeed. That's Wales Today. I'll be back after the 10 o'clock news. Hope you can join me then. Until then, from all of us on the team, have a good evening.